Calista, this question is based and on behalf of all the VLSI aspirants that we have around, and it'll be really kind of you and nice of you if you could just, share a few tips if somebody wants to have and build a long-term career in the VLSI space. What are a few tips that you would like to share with them? And probably then Shiva.
So I think my two biggest tips would be to go broad and to go deep. Become a deep expert in an area that is important to you, and then go broad. Understand how your piece of the puzzle fits within the entire ecosystem of stakeholders around you. So, there are many parts of this ecosystem. You have the software stack, from boot, hypervisor, operating systems, runtimes, and other applications. How does your piece of the puzzle interact with the software stack? How does it interact with pieces of debug and security and performance? What is your influence there? What about reliability and serviceability and diagnostics, things of this nature that are very essential as well? How does your piece interact with design verification or RTL or implementation, and how those pieces come together? What about testing or other profiles and analysis and simulators and compilers? How do you interact with each of those other pieces so that when you propose or move forward on a design, that it interacts well within the rest of the community and can help you make those leaps forward? And then think about how you give back, how you bring others with you. So think about, do you have a strong mentor in your domain? Are you mentoring others? Do you have colleagues, peers? Build those networks. As I mentioned, go work shoulder to shoulder with others in your domain. Go pick one of those 60 work groups that we have. Join RISC-V, of course, but go work shoulder to shoulder with one of those other one of those other work groups, or just be a spectator. Listen in. What are the hot topics going on in each of these various areas? We have domain experts across the field, right? And when you work together, you learn faster and you understand better and more deeply what the influences can be. So those would be some of my tips on kind of pursuing a career in this particular space.
And I would say that very, very well put, Calista. I have myself taken a note of it. Broad and deep is something that I'm going to probably remember forever. So thank you so much for that. Shiva, the same question for you, that, what are the few tips that you would like to share with our young engineers?
What I would say, ask yourself, is VLSI your cup of coffee? I'm talking about only VLSI, chip design. Don't come to Maven Silicon just for the sake of getting a job. I want to be transparent with you. And I love to work with engineers who are truly passionate about VLSI. If you are not going to be my type, my boy, then it would be difficult for me to connect with you, right? That's the most important thing. Also, don't assume things like only VLSI is the greatest thing in the world. You can deal with IT support, you can deal with embedded systems, you can deal with software programming. Everything is good, everything is needed for us. So you should not choose your domain based on something like popularity. Oh, this technology is so popular, this is fancy. Also, be open-minded when it comes to doing your job. There may be challenges for organizations, there may be challenges for mentors. If I look back how I started my career, right? Initially, I was doing EDA installation. That was my first assignment. So I was working like IT support guy. It was kind of frustration because I had to deal with EDA, electronic design automation tools installation. But I didn't know what's going to happen to me in my life. I didn't know the destiny. So that experience was highly needed when I wanted to found Maven Silicon, because that time nobody was there with me. I just came out of the industry, and then I founded Maven Silicon, registered my company as private limited company. I was there for everything. I was the salesperson, I was the engineer, and I was the trainer, right? I had to do everything, and I was the IT support guy. So I bought EDA tools from one of the EDA companies, and then I installed EDA tools on my own, right? I knew about everything, what was going on in my facility, right? So sometimes when things don't happen to you, don't lose your motivation. Whatever you do, do it sincerely. That's going to pay you back. At the same time, don't give up your dream. You are there to share your concerns with people. Be open-minded, discuss with people. You can always negotiate with people. That's how I negotiated with my first employer. And then my boss helped me to move to EDA. So they had a dedicated team for the EDA support. That's how I became application engineer. And that's how I got into the EDA industry, right? So later on, I got a job in Cadence. There I explored different kinds of things like verification methodologies or languages. And then I quit my job, then worked in Synopsys. But how everything happened, because I negotiated with my first employer, I asked them also, like, what I'm doing probably might not help for my future. So can you help me to explore something else? Right? So talk to people. They are there to help you. That's what really important. And the most important thing is you have to be curious. Learning is a continuous process. Don't be happy with what you know. You are there to ask yourself also why. Why is the big question, how this is happening. So that's what I ask myself also. What is smartphone? What is laptop? What is CISC? What is RISC? That's how you need to ask. And I use Google extensively. I Google for everything. I use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a good reference, right? This is the kind of thing that will help you to build your long-term career, right? You have to be really skilled. At the same time, your attitude is more important. You have to be flexible. You have to be open-minded. You should always feel like I'm part of the community. And if you are going to learn anything good, what is expected from you is one day you will be sharing your knowledge with the community. That's what Calista also mentioned, right? And there are amazing forums like RISC-V International. Be part of such non-profit organizations. They are there primarily for the community. And that's highly important for engineers community. All right.
Thank you so much, Shiva. I always hear it from you, and you always say that, know the why behind everything. And this is something that I have learned to grow up with probably for the last 3 years. And I think everybody should begin their journey with that, knowing the why behind everything. So thank you so much for that.